forum.
Yes.
And how did you find out about it?
About the forum
Yeah,
itself.
what got you involved and when?
I just found out about it initially when I started doing my PhD
Okay.
on McCarthy, so that was what? I had more hair then.
Oh.
So that was about, 7 or 8 years ago now.
Okay.
Just general kind of searching and found out about the kind of community and things from there. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So it came up when you put his name in,
Essentially
yeah.
just from trying to, the initial kind of searches and seeing what else was about really, so.
From Australia?
No, I'm English.
You're English, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. No, I'm from just
God.
outside of London. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you doing your PhD in England?
In Wales.
In
Actually, yeah, in
Wales.
Swansea. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
And how does Cormac go over there?
Very well. I was in an American studies department.
Okay.
So he's more. It's been an increasing kind of feature on syllabi and classes and courses and at undergraduate and graduate levels. So. He's definitely known in certain circles.
No, I'm taking a stab here, but I take it that you're in Knoxville because of Cormac McCarthy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's the only place that'd have me. Yeah. So I'm here for it's my second year here lecturing in the English department. So.
All right. And are you researching basically, or both? Or
Trying to.
All right.
When teaching schedules allow, I'm trying to get some research done.
Yeah.
Work on some different projects and things like that.
Okay.
So,
Have you been to the conferences?
Yeah. Went to
You've
one
met a
here.
lot of people through
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you say, I'm just going to wing a question here, how would you say that finding the forum affected your work and your reading of McCarthy?
I guess I think it was. I can remember the first conference I went to, which was in France in 2002, and just judging by it, there's a level of kind of. It's a very hospitable kind of place, and I think that transmits even when you meet people in person as well.
On the forum.
Yeah, and it's a good kind of open exchange and a good kind of atmosphere with it. So.
Okay. All right.
For the most part.
Did you start reading more?
About.
Anything?
I've picked up certain. I mean, Rick's read everything anyway,
Yeah.
so it's always impossible to. You want to kind of trump him sometimes. So,
Totally. There'd be no fun if you couldn't try.
No, there's been numerous times where, especially say with Wes and other people, they've just mentioned a whole host of stuff that I wouldn't have even been aware of. So.
Yeah, that's what I found too, especially the first couple of years. There was about a year where every time someone mentioned a book, I wrote it down if I hadn't read it. I was like, I'm going to know what they know.
I'm going to start making up titles soon. Just, throw people off the scent, but no, it's invaluable in that respect.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Wes? When did you first find out about the McCarthy Forum? Or were you right
I can't remember.
When you got a computer or something?
Well, I probably ended up Googling McCarthy.
Yeah.
And that came up.
So you didn't know academics yet involved with study? It was your own personal interest? Yeah.
And I remember one of my early questions had to do with Gene Harrogate in the watermelon.
Okay. Yeah.
And was asking if anyone had any ideas where that might have come from.
Right. Right. It had been based on another story.
Yeah, or was that somewhere else? And
Mythology.
Diane, I remember, wrote back and said something. Because I thought I knew where it might have come from.
Yeah.
And so then we exchanged something over that. And then
I think I remember that.
And then kind of the next thing that I kind of remember was I had been over to Catholic high school and to the library and was talking to the librarian there, and she turned me on to some old newspapers. And so I was going through McCarthy's high school newspapers and ran across this poem that he wrote.
Right.
And so I thought, I wonder if anybody on the forum knows about that poem. I was trying to think of a way I could find out.
Yeah, so without giving it away.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I wrote and said, gee, I know that he's written so many novels and a couple of short stories, but has he ever written any poetry? And Rick, of course, jumped in and responded, no, he had never written any poetry, and so forth. And then you mentioned that then that was the time you responded where you said, everything he writes is poetry.
Oh, that sounds like something I would say. Yeah, I have to out-trump it.
And I said, boy, if Candy and Rick don't know about this poem, I have really found something.
You scored big, yeah.
So that was a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, that's the way you do it. I know. I always like, I wonder about this, and you're waiting. Really, it's all like setting up your web to catch, find out if anybody else knew something.
Baiting the trap.
Yes, baiting the trap. How about students? Do you turn them onto the forum, or?
I've tried to. I mean, teaching. I'm funny. I'm teaching blood meridian this week. I had my first class yesterday.
Oh, really?
And it's interesting to see. I've used. There are invaluable things on the forum, such as the translations, and that I'll always kind of send around and point people in the direction of.
Yeah.
And it just the bibliographies that are just really are fantastic.
Yeah.
Really are important to have, and encourage them to maybe post some questions and ask some questions as well.
Right.
So.
We don't get. There's not too many students come on and ask for papers.
I think I can remember just like over the
It's too
years.
intimidating.
It may be, but then sometimes as well, I think they get shot down quite quickly if it's okay. What's the answer?
Well, and also if they're, it depends where they do it, because the questionnaire is set up at the bottom for, go ahead and ask a stupid question. That's what it should be called, right? And then if sometimes people come on and go, can you help me with my paper? And then it's attack.
Yeah. It was. I only did it the once, and
and you learned, have you been participating very much in the past year or so?
I'm more of. This sounds bad. I'm more of a kind of lurker.
Lurker, that's
really.
okay.
I do kind of. Every now and again I post, but no, I'm more. I check it every day, pretty much.
Right.
But yeah, I'm more of a
That's
kind
interesting.
Of cyber lurker. Which
really is.
Sounds suspicious.
It does.
Yeah, I think.
But it's addictive.
Yeah.
It's insanely addictive if you like his books at all. Yeah, my friend Mr. Anchovy, he participated for a while, but he'll still go on months later and lurk around and see what's on there, you know. And I think even people like who aren't participating at all anymore, they're still going back.
Well, I was telling you that when I talked with Marty, he was saying that they get a tremendous number of hits on the board, in the thousands a day. And I said, well, gee, you know, not that many people post. And he said, oh yeah, that's the way it is. But you get a lot more.
All the stupid things I said on there, you know.
But I think especially kind of student-wise and undergraduate-wise, because it's becoming more and more of a feature on, like, not even to mention the publicity stuff. And of course, the trend now is, where do you go first? You go to Google.
Yeah.
You don't kind of library research. You don't. It's kind of digital. It's online, and
you do find rare connections on the McCarthy Forum for reading. There are, you know. There's still that book that's never been translated that I think Paulio mentioned about, not Ride with the Devil, but something like that I'm still curious. It's a Portuguese book, and he said anyone who's read Blood Meridian has to read that. It still hasn't been translated.
That's what's interesting to get as well, just to gauge the reactions when new things are published, or that's really just always interesting and enlivening to see.
Those are really the exciting times.
Well, I think next, in 2 weeks, it's going to be exciting when the movie gets full theater, you know, mass theater. There'll be some lively discussions then, how do you handle, what do you think of like remember the New York Times blog came out and said, all they do is fight over there and infighting and...
I think it's quite a gentle place, really, isn't it? I think it's there's nothing too outrageous, really. It's always a good sense of decorum, really, which you'd expect.
Is, ultimately,
For a writer such as him, you'd expect a bit more cannibalism and threats of violence, maybe. But no, it's very, very polite, very genteel.
Yes, pretty much.